I'm way too invested in Tyler, the Creator, and the rapper Ian.
Ian.
I'm Ian. I'm from St. Louis.
Once an anonymous SoundCloud producer, Ian O'Neill Smith, better known by his stage name Ian, shot from obscurity to internet stardom in just a few short months. His rise was almost surreal, capturing attention across social media with viral hits, meme-worthy moments, and an image that left people wondering, who is Ian really? But as quickly as he rose, Ian's fame has faced a hard reality check. His most recent album, Goodbye Horses, was supposed to cement his place in the industry. Instead, it left fans questioning if he was just another viral sensation who couldn't sustain his hype. Today, we're looking at the rise and fall of one of hip-hop's most controversial new names and asking if Ian is here to stay or if he's just another blip in the fast-moving world of viral rap.
Meanwhile, this over here is just junk.
Ian released Figure It Out on the 14th of February in 2024, where at this point in time he was quite literally a nobody, but it wouldn't take long until this song became a relatively viral hit for an unknown underground artist, having almost 20,000 videos made to it on the platform TikTok. Now, not only would it go viral for his one-liners, but also for his skin color. When fans started digging through his social media to realize he was white, they started leaving comments such as, "You would never think bro made this song," which wasn't only due to the fact he was white, but also because he was the whitest white kid. Ian seemed like any other ordinary white dude, but soon after Ian started releasing more tracks, slowly becoming an underground superstar, people were starting to notice Ian was some sort of industry plan, and that this white kid character was actually a marketing strategy.
Tyler, the Creator, recently did an interview, which is always a great time because he's relatively unfiltered, is going to say things how he feels about them, and he doesn't do interviews very often. However, one of the takes that's been circulating a lot more than the others is the following. I'm going to play you guys the clip and then we'll get into it.
This white kid, regular like Caucasian man, and he's like mocking Future and Gucci Mane like rap music, and like people are like, this hard. It's not even like satire. It's like, I'm just joking, I'm just mocking it. But I'm like, no, you can't do. And I hold rap music so close to my heart because this shit changed my life and everyone's life around me, and I'm a nerd about this shit. This is like weird, and I'm looking at it, and something about it like don't even sit well with me in comparison to someone like a Mac Miller or Eminem, who it didn't seem like they was mocking it. They had a genuine love for it, and they were still just being,
for sure.
You know,
20,000 on my thighs and another 20 for my jacket. I don't know him why he's here around. Get the on before I tweak about it. We ain't beefing, he just think about it. I can't get it, I just think about it. Too tired of losing sleep about it. I'm too fried to even speak about it. Shit. I was fucked up wondering why I do it. Bitch dropped to her knees like hallelujah. All I needed was how you doing. Back then I really loved our Future. I ain't never sat down trying to mock Future. I ain't wanna show no disrespect, so I kept my mouth shut, and that's not human.
What up, words? Your boy Challz Brown back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Keep sending those Cashaps to CLBMG gang. I don't know this Ian kid from a hole in the wall. I am just a regular old head rapper who loves hip hop to the core. And I am very, I'm not going to say embarrassed, but what I am going to say is I never heard of this kid until literally, technically, 2 days ago. I'm just going to be honest. Now, the simple fact of the matter is what happened is I saw this kid before on a little clip on one of those freestyle, one of those, you see a bunch of different artists, they're always young and they come up and rap, and I cannot remember the platform. And I was like, oh, I wonder what they see in this kid. I saw him, I didn't know he was Ian. I didn't know he was on fire. I didn't know every single blogger was commenting on his records and his music, and I had no idea who this kid was, so I paid him no attention. And that had to be 5-6 months ago, easily. I didn't pay him, so I didn't know who he was. I just saw this really random, like, white kid that looked like he wears cardigans and sunglasses on his head. I didn't know who he was. I'm just going to be honest. Even after Tyler said what he said about him, which I'm going to play the clip in the beginning, I didn't have any clue. I did not care one way or the other. I told you the other day, hip-hop comes to me organically. So when I saw a post yesterday that Ian responds to Tyler, the Creator, I'm like, who is Ian? And why is he responding to Tyler? What happened now? Like, Tyler is notorious for pissing people off, saying whatever's on his mind. Anything that he feels, he's going to say it. And apparently Tyler looked at this kid, Ian, as he was mocking hip hop. He was mocking Future and a couple other people. And I went down a rabbit hole trying to figure out who is Ian and why is he mocking hip hop and why does Tyler have an issue? So like we do in 2025, we go straight to Google. We go straight to YouTube and we get to the bottom of the matter. And I'm going to be honest, I think the last 2 days straight, I have been watching every single solitary breakdown of this kid, Ian, his come up and why Tyler had a problem with him and why he's looked at as an industry plant. It's a whole story, a lot of moving pieces and a lot of hands were in the pot of making this kid from this random white kid that just wears white tees and he's very all shucks. He's like started on SoundCloud at like 16 or something like that. And by the time he was 19, he had already amassed a following. Now, what I did watch, because I'm trying to be more open to the young kids' stories in this hip hop, because we only respect them when they're 37. Like, you know what I'm saying? They've had a whole career. That's fine. But I don't want to be the guy that hip hop passes by and you're still talking about Jay-Z and Nas and Tupac. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, they're not earning that. So when I have a chance to start from their intro to where they're going, if they're going to be anything at all, then I'm going to try to take it. So with this Ian kid, I was like, let me see what the hype is. What's going on? And the first thing you realize is that he started with the SoundCloud era. He was trying to find himself like everybody else on SoundCloud. And when he reached his next level, it was a lot of, let's just be honest, a lot of black hands that put their stamp on it to move his career forward. His manager, different people involved, different artists he's collabed with, different things that has happened, right? That have made this kid where he needs to be and subsequently caught on Tyler, the Creator's radar. Now, Tyler said something that some people, especially if you are a fan of Ian, some people are taking it as borderline racist. It's only because the kid is white that you're saying that he's mocking hip hop, but Eminem isn't mocking it and Mac Miller isn't mocking it, but this kid is kind of mocking it. Now, as a person of my, I am who I am, and I love hip hop from before most of these kids were born. Even Tyler was born. I was into hip hop before all that. So I have a different perspective. But at the same time, I can't change my perspective just because it's 2025 and start trying to think like these kids think, because I'm not a kid. So I'm looking at a bigger picture. Yes, he's, 19 at this point, going on 20 or something like that. And yes, he does have a style that sounds very similar, in my opinion, to Future. And I think that's not the only reason that Tyler would say that he's mocking Future, because let's just be honest, what 18, 17, 19-year-old kid sounds like Future in the slightest, thinks like Future in the slightest? You're getting that style from somewhere. It's just a fact. And as me being in hip hop, we know a lot of people get inspired, just like, what's my guy, Designer, when he came out sounding like Future. Future's going to inspire a lot of people. And Designer caught hell, if y'all don't remember. Designer career stopped before it started because they were saying he sounded like Future so much, people started picking sides. Future openly expressed he wasn't feeling it, which I think was a little bit of, listen, can't two people occupy this lane? So I think it was a little bit of professional, like, yo, listen, like, yeah, you're not jumping in my lane eating off my bag, because then I got to eat off my bag, and we can't both eat off. So I think Future was a little bit career intimidation a little bit. And he was like, let me stop this before it started. But people had to choose sides with that Future thing and Designer. And when this kid comes in and he's sounding like Future and Gucci Mane, according to Tyler, which is debatable. I think he does. I think he styled himself, especially when you realize he was doing almost a mumble thing before he decided to clean up his verses. It was almost like he was trying anything that was popping, right? A lot of comparisons to Yeet, which I'm learning, like, there's a lot of, like, which I don't really need to know because it's not really my wheelhouse. But to a degree, you need to understand that there's a whole movement out here that doesn't care about your old head opinion, right? Like, what is it, Lil Muma and, like, Yeet and Ian and all these different, Lil Mambu or something like that. I can't remember, but there's a whole movement out there that is going to cater to the kids. But this is the thing. The movement is there, right? That's going to cater to the suburban kids that want to be represented in this hip hop thing. And that's cool. But the only problem you really got to understand, they're not really rapping like suburban kids. This is where the rub is. And I know a lot of people want to say, oh, some people want to look at Tyler as making a racist comment because the kid is white. But white kids don't talk like what he's talking like. They don't say stuff like she dropped down to her knees and gave. They don't really talk like that. Let's just be honest. White kids not talking like this kid is talking. They're not spitting the things he's spitting. Talking about a $20,000 jacket. White kids don't talk like that. They don't talk like that. I'm just going to be honest. So if we're going to say he's learning himself and he's spitting the game, Lil Dicky doesn't talk like that. Now, some people say Lil Dicky has his little moments or whatever, or they look at Dicky as kind of black scenting and way things like that. I find Lil Dicky to be way more authentic than a lot of black guys that are mimicking trap rappers. And they're really not like, we have a couple, ain't a Lil Tecca that say he don't do none of that stuff, but he raps like he's in the trap. There's a lot of people that mimic that trap stuff that ain't got nothing to do with the trap. Right? So we've been seeing this for a while, white and black. Right? So this is a thing, this is the problem where I found after my 2 days straight, I'm telling you, I've been obsessed. I just been watching everything. I've been trying to absorb what's going on because there's a whole movement out there that has nothing to do with what I got going on and what I think and what people my age and your age think. My crowd watching this don't even know who this kid is. I'm just going to be honest. I promise you. Most of you guys don't know who I'm talking about. You don't know who I'm talking about. But the topic is a white young rapper mimicking black rappers and becoming successful? And some people got really offended when Tyler said this. Now, I didn't think one way or another because I'm just going to like, it didn't matter to me what he said. But then as after this kid came back with a so-called response on the Lyrical Lemonade, and then my whole social media lights up, Ian responds to Tyler, right? And the response wasn't really a response. It was just like a bar, 2 lines, and he kept it moving because he knows that he can't withstand that problem. When all these fans start attacking him for dissing Tyler, it's not going to be a good look. And his career's already, you know what I'm saying? Like his debut album that they were looking forward to. What was it? Something about horses or something, right? That thing only did 13,000 units, which they would look. But most of these young cats can't move real album units anyway. They'll do a lot on TikTok, which is how he blew up. They strategically put his stuff on TikTok, and he did a lot of very bland and blah vanilla things that made people endear, like, oh, he's just a regular kid. Like, so they strategically placed him on these different social media platforms. Very smart marketing, made him like an everyday kid that just so happens to rap. Like when he did the on the block, is it on the block or off the block? One of the show where they do the mic is hanging down and they're on the block. He did his on the block with his family eating dinner, like everything. It was not the typical on the block. It was a whole different experience. He was like, I'm just a white guy that just raps. So they strategically used this awkward image of him to make him blow up. So that's what they did with him. But at the same time, it didn't translate into album sales when he tried to bring his album out. So we're looking at something that is manufactured but doesn't have the staying power. And that's what Tyler was talking about. Like, it's like he's mocking it, and he's not putting in the work. He's becoming something. He's trying to, I think, in my opinion, after my conclusion of watching him, of how he started, how he transformed, a lot of hits and misses. Then when he found this lane, that's a future-ish, yeetish type of thing, he stuck with that, and that's what made people rock with him. But it's really, to me, it's not an authentic thing. At the final verdict, it's not authentic to me. I don't think he found his sound. I honestly think if it changed tomorrow, he'll roll with whatever tomorrow. I don't think this is who we're seeing. I think this is a young kid that wants to be accepted badly, no matter what, and he'll incorporate whatever it's going to take to move that needle. And to a degree, if that's the case, then Tyler's right. Tyler's right, because you're moving the goalpost to fit whatever narrative is going on in hip hop. You're not a hip hop head, and this is why I stick to my old head ways, and I stick to my corner, because a lot of this stuff will expose itself. You're gonna say, Challz, you're being unfair. This kid's 19. He has his whole life ahead of him to change his da-da-da. And that's all great, but at 19, most of us were already locked into what we were doing in hip hop. Right? We already knew what we were trying to be. Most of the great ones, right? And most hip hop heads, we already knew. We weren't still trying to figure it out and had this label trying to move all these pieces to make us into this, that, and the third. We were already locked into what side of the fence we were going to be on hip hop. Sure, we were open to a lot of things, but at the same time, if we're trying to be rappers, we're not going to be a rapper this way. We're mumbling this day, and then tomorrow we're clear and coherent, and we're future. So I think it is, to a degree, Tyler's right. I don't think this was a right. Now I get it. This dude is a little cringy. You know what I'm saying? I just gonna be honest, when he tries to be too cool, it's like, yo, kid, we know you're not that cool like that. When he tries to get these right, like when you look at the lyrical lemonade, it's like it's a little harder, and it's a little like, you know what I'm saying? Like it's mad confident, it's cocky, and I'm like, that's not the vibe that I get from this kid. And it sounds good, like where the flow's not that great, but it sounds like what the words he's actually saying, like, sounds like a very confident, very mature artist. Now we know that that's not this kid, in my opinion, because we know his lifestyle and where he comes from. So that's not you. So it has to be looked at as mocking. Eminem wasn't mocking because he was telling you everything that he was going through, and he went through it as the person that he was rapping. He wasn't pretending to be anybody. He did all of that stuff that he was rapping about. This kid, I don't know if he's doing any of this stuff. Just gonna be honest. So I feel like the people that were coming at Tyler, because this happened 6 months ago. The dude just responded like 2 days ago. So the people were, just be honest, a lot of the white fans of this kid were, and even a few YouTubers were coming at Tyler, calling him, you're turning into the old heads that you used to hate. But Tyler he's always been very outspoken. He's always spoken his mind. So I don't know why they're calling him an old head that hates rappers now. I don't think that's it. I believe that Tyler really expressed what most of us that's in hip hop would look at that kid and be like, oh, bro is kind of like trying to be something he's not. I'm just gonna be honest. There's very few people that come into this game and they're themselves, white or black, right? I told you, a lot of black kids are imitating what they see. A lot of these black kids are spitting these hardcore trap rhymes, and they ain't in the trap at all, which is a whole nother discussion, and that's a whole nother issue with this hip-hop thing. That's why a lot of us old heads, quote-unquote, stay in our way and stay in our lane, because eventually the game is going to weed them people out anyway. And they're not going to have a story to tell in a year. They're going to be like one of these guys that used to blow up really quickly on these blogs back in the day, right? And all of a sudden, a year later, they're like, what happened to bro? Right? So we're not going to need to know this story of this guy. He's going to be a cautionary tale. I'm just going to be honest. This dude's going to be Rebecca Black singing about Friday. Like 10 years later, they're going to be like, what happened to bro? Like, I'm just going to be honest now. He could change, right? But most of the time, these rappers, especially when they're mimicking hip hop, is what I'm looking at to me. Now, yes, he's genuinely just being this regular kid, but his style isn't a regular. If he was just rapping regular white boy, that would be a different thing. This kid sounds like a much more mature. It sounds like a, for lack of a better word, it sounds like a black guy rapping. People didn't know he was white. Let's just be honest. So if you're a regular degular white kid just rapping like a regular degular, I'm just regular degular, then you would not sound like Future. And at that point, we have to say you're mocking it. I'm just gonna be honest. It's kind of like Iggy Azalea. It kind of like has a, you're from Australia. How are you sounding like this? It's almost a caricature. And on that note, man, let me know what you think, man. I think Tyler said it right. He didn't finish his thought, but I believe what he was trying to say is, it's kind of weird that this kid is getting so much burn and pub in this space that we've created with our thing, whether it's right, wrong, or indifferent. And this kid walks in and starts to sound like Future and other guys that have already made it and gets immediately accepted, blows up and sells all these units and makes all this money and becomes the industry darling, whether he's planted or not, which he clearly was planted and he clearly was helped along. It does not make it any better that he's sounding like something he clearly has no basis to sound anything like Future, because his life is nothing like that. Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG. I'm gonna catch you on that flip side. Peace.
Look, mission impossible to drop a few lines without dropping old times when Southern Hill was still a gold mine. When pistol grips was my shit and I sold mine. When Alias was not a show and they told mine.
CLB.